Hello to all of you. This is Dr. Dhaval Maheta, and today we will understand how to represent the data graphically using Seaborn library in Python. So for this, we will go into the Jupyter notebook. We'll activate some of the libraries as import pandas as PD, import numpy as NP, import matplotlib as MPL, import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. You'll not require this thing in case of Seaborn because Seaborn is having its own library. So this is for matplotlib. Even if you don't do it, it's okay. Iris is equal to pd dot read underscore xl r. You will have to bring the path. You will have to specify the path here from which iris dataset will be imported. Once this is done, you will activate import Seaborn as SNS. Now you will be able to use all the functions of Seaborn library. So sns.scatterplot x is equal to sepal length, y is equal to sepal width, data is Irish. You can see here it generates the same scatter plot which we had generated using pandas and matplotlib. The command line has become much more simple in comparison to matplotlib and pandas. I can also specify u here. So sns.scatterplot x is equal to sepal length, y is equal to sepal width. Specify u, species name, and I'll get graphs according to the species name, that is Citrosa, versicolor, and virginica. So you can see here the command line. I can also generate the line chart. Simple. Now the command line is very simple in comparison to matplotlib. sns.lineplot data is equal to iris.drop species name x is 1. Now I will have to import another file which is wine reviews. So wine underscore reviews is the name of the data frame is equal to pd dot read underscore csv. Whenever you are using pd, make sure that pandas library is on. Import pandas as pd. Then round brackets, and we'll have to specify the path from where this wine dataset is to be imported. Wine dataset, iris dataset, Titanic dataset, all these datasets are available on Kaggle. You can download it freely from there. Now I want to generate the histogram of the points variable which is there in this dataset. So I'll specify sns.distance plot wine review points beans 10 beans should be activated. Kernel density is true, and I'll run it. And you can see here the histogram with kernel density. If I make this false, you can see the output kernel density will not be generated. If I keep it true, now I can also generate the count plot. So sns.countplot wine reviews points. So it will give me the bar chart. I can also generate the box plots normally used to test the normality of the data. So df is equal to wine underscore reviews. Now I'll be doing the filtering of the data. So wine underscore reviews points all those wines which are having points greater than 95 and wine reviews price less than 1000. So we are generating the data frame. Then we will say sns.boxplot consider points, price, and data is equal to data frame. So it will generate the points here. All wines whose reviews are above 95 and price is less than 1000. We can also generate the heat map by writing the command sns.heatmap iris.correlation. This heat map should be based on the correlation between the variables. Annotation is true. So you can see the heat map is generated. If I make annotation false, see the changes which will happen in the chart, right? So annotation false and annotation true. So if annotation is true, it gives me the correlation in the heat map. Now facet grid can also be generated. So I'll run the command g is equal to sns dot facet grid iris call is equal to species underscore name g is equal to g dot map sns dot kd plot kernel density plot and sepal length. So I'll get three different kernel density plots. See here. I can also generate the pair plot blanket command sns.pairplot iris, only the name of the data frame, and it will generate the relationship between the various variables. So if we talk about this cell, let me minimize this. If I talk about this cell, petal width and petal width, so it will generate the histogram here. But if I talk about petal length with petal width, it is a scatter plot. It is a relation, a positive relationship between them. If petal width increases, petal length will increase, right? So this will generate a pair plot among all the variables. So for more videos on data science using Python, kindly subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter. Please refer my playlist in which I have already uploaded many videos which are related to data science using Python.